I'm not quite sure when it did start. Obviously in the 60s. People say that it all started with Gordon Banks after England won the World Cup. But I was too young to remember that.
Gary Sprake, I think it was, for Leeds United. I would imagine, I think so.
I had this theory, and it could be refuted by older people than me. There are a few, I think. But I always remember the game after England had won the World Cup in 1966. Liverpool played Everton in the Charity Shield, and then the first game here was in the league against Leicester City, and I think Liverpool won 3-2, if I remember. Derek Dougan and players like that were playing. But Gordon Banks was in the Leicester goal, and I think Shankly had sent him out early doors, you know, to take the cheers from the Kop and everything. But when he came out to face Liverpool, the Kop went absolutely ballistic. And I always thought that was the first time I'd ever seen the Kop react the way they did.
But then, I think Liverpool have always had a special place for goalkeepers. I mean, their old telegraphic address, in Michael Caine language, not many people know this, was goalkeeper Anfield. That was their old telegraphic address. Now, that was obviously inspired by their own goalkeepers. But I think the Kop crowd here have always respected goalkeepers. And I've seen them applaud goalkeepers from way back I can remember in the second division days. But I do remember them applauding Gary Sprake, not just for the one he threw in, which he did, but he did make some great saves at Anfield with Leeds United. I remember them clapping him.
I always looked out for it every game, because I would always be on the Kop and I would applaud the goalkeeper, and it would almost feel as if it was totally disrespectful if a goalkeeper didn't do it. And some of your biggest adversaries at the time would still respect the Kop for applauding. You know, in the 70s, whether it be Peter Shilton or if it was Neville Southall in the 80s, or Gary Sprake, or you know, even the United goalkeepers, there was always that respect. And I always used to look out, especially on European nights, and some of them didn't, and then there'd be the friendly jeering. But obviously, you know, the great ones, the great European goalkeepers, you know, Sepp Maier, Buffon, goalkeepers like that, they did, because they understood it. They got the history of Liverpool Football Club.
I'm not saying they don't give them, they don't barrack them during the game. They do, of course. And if they're facing a penalty, the Kop will ever get any kind of distraction. But at the end, I've seen them applaud goalkeeper after goalkeeper, and they've acknowledged the Kop, which I think, as you say, is probably a unique characteristic of the crowd.
Some people say it did happen in the 50s and 60s, but I've spoken to people and they don't really remember, but I certainly remember it was the Gordon Banks one, and of course with his with him passing this last couple of weeks, I can understand why. He was a great person on Merseyside. He was loved by the Kopites.